Hello, and welcome to the 40th anniversary installment of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. I'm successor producer Hef Munson. We'll start off with some regular news items.
As of Sunday evening, April 25th, reports show the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Arlington had reached 14,982. Regular viewers and listeners will note the continuing increase in our reported case numbers. Arlingtonians are still getting sick. 147 people in the last 7 days. The Arlington County Police Department's Community Resources section is conducting the second annual Fill the Cruiser food drive in support of the Arlington Food Assistance Center. During last year's Fill the Cruiser event, community members generously donated 6,509 pounds of food. These donations help fill the shelves at Afaq and ensure they are able to continue to meet the needs of their clients. The Community Resources section will be collecting items at drive-through donation stations on Tuesday, May 18th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 3 locations: Giant Food at 2901 South Glebe Road, Safeway at 3713 Lee Highway, and Westover Baptist Church at 1125 Patrick Henry Drive. Upon arrival, donors should stay in their car until they reach the unloading areas, where officers will be on hand to remove donations from their vehicle. A separate area will be available for those arriving by bike or on foot. All donors are expected to observe proper social distancing guidelines and wear a face covering while dropping off donations. Afaq is most in need of the following low-sodium, low-fat, and low-sugar items: low-sodium canned tomatoes, low-sodium canned tuna, low-sodium canned soups, canned vegetables, peanut butter in plastic jars, and low-sugar cereal. Now it's time for Community Bulletin Board, or CBB.
Hello, and welcome to CBB. Our first event is part of the Community Arts Outdoors series. It's a chance for people of all ages to join up for a fun art workshop. This week, they will be doing bubble painting. Please register all family members who wish to participate. You can register online or call 703-228-4747 and mention activity number 782003-32. That's on Wednesday, May 5th from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. at Fairlington Community Center and Park, 3308 South Stafford Street. I've never tried bubble painting myself, but I imagine you'd have to be pretty fast before the bubbles burst. I guess the best way is to go and find out for yourself. Our next event is called Fitness Workout for Teens, and I'll bet the message was written by a grown-up. It says, "Get outside and active. Teens ages 11 to 17, join the Office for Teens for a fun and challenging outdoor workout." That sure sounds like it was written by a grown-up. Register online or call 703-228-4747. Activity number is 782118-34. It's on Wednesday, May 5th from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. at Thomas Jefferson Park, 3501 2nd Street South. Now it's time for 55 Plus News.
Howdy, and welcome to 55 Plus News. The first event is called Black Women and the Space Race. There will be a virtual field trip to the National Women's History Museum by watching a video together. Women computers like Katherine Johnson were integral members of NASA's teams as they determined the geometry for space orbit. The museum's video tells the stories of the women who sent America's astronauts into space and explains the mathematical concepts behind space orbit. You can register online or call 703-228-4747. That's activity number 913-400-13, and it's coming up on Friday, May 7th from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. You gotta be 55 or older, and 55 plus membership is required. Next up, we got outdoor needlecraft. Now, this is a chance to work on your knitting, crochet, or needlecraft project while enjoying fellowship with 55 plus friends in the park. Register online or call 703-228-4747. The activity number is 913-703-11, and it's coming up on Monday, May 10th from 10 o'clock a.m. to 12 noon at Virginia Highlands Park, 1600 South Hayes Street. Once again, you gotta be 55 and up, and 55 plus membership is required. Anyway, that's enough 55 plus news. Let's get on with that 40-year history of the Arlington Weekly News.
The first thing worth noting is that the Arlington Weekly News was around before Arlington Independent Media even began. Our first show took place in April of 1981, and it was broadcast through an organization called PACTV. PACTV was basically just a startup. It existed primarily to train interested Arlingtonians in the basic skills of video production. The skills were indeed very basic because the equipment was minimal. Comcast provided a single video camera along with a separate video recording machine, both of which were used equipment. The studio space consisted of a single room on the second floor of the building Comcast was renting. There wasn't much space in that little room. One wall was occupied by a row of lockers, and there were a number of wooden chairs and desks which looked like leftovers from an old high school. A single microphone was brought in a briefcase by one of the participants. Lighting was similarly primitive. My own involvement consisted of providing the opening musical theme for the show. That had a similarly modest beginning. During the first show, a contest was announced for original theme music. Mine was the only entry. I composed it as a kind of affectionate parody of the kind of theme that was being used on the public radio show All Things Considered. The complete piece was longer, so they only used an extract. I used a TAC 4-track reel-to-reel tape deck and an Electrocomp analog synthesizer on all 4 tracks. I called it News Music, spelled NUSEMEWSIC, just to be cute. As I recall, it was used beginning with the second show, and I was interviewed as either the first or second guest. Around August of 1981, Don Hammond formally stepped into the role of official producer, where he remained for the next 35 years. Fortunately, Don retained a VHS copy of the first anniversary show in April 1982. Let's take a look at some of the recollections from that show.
welcome to the Arlington Weekly News. I'm Jamie Beckett. Tonight, by the way, is our first anniversary show. It's been 1 year since the Arlington Weekly News began.
Well, what do you think, Don? The news show sure has come a long way in a year.
Yeah, I'll say, I remember when we first started, Louise, we had 2 chairs on just a naked set. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
And then we graduated to a table, and we thought we were really something. But now Cal's got this new set, and really looks great. Oh yeah, that was our original logo for the Arlington Weekly News for many weeks, many months actually. You know, the other thing about the news show that's interesting is the variety of people that have contributed to it in one way or the other, the different walks of life that they were in and so on. Louise, how did you happen to get tangled up with us?
Well, I was finishing the breakfast dishes one morning when the telephone rang, and someone said, "Wouldn't you like to be on the Arlington Weekly News?" And I was about to say, no, I certainly wouldn't like to be on it, when I remembered that when they were first talking about setting up this channel, I had suggested we have an Arlington Weekly News, so there I was stuck, and here I am most of the time.
And you, Debbie?
Well, I remember I was chairing a symposium on development in Arlington County, and we needed a way to reach out to the community to advertise the symposium. So I came on as a newscaster for one time. We had so few newscasters that I was invited back, and it was such an enjoyable experience. I've been back every now and then.
Well, you remember when Outdoors had this for their logo when Kathleen Devine was doing it?
Yeah, I miss her a lot. She disappeared into the sunset.
Disappeared into the sunset, right. You had something to do with this logo here, didn't you?
Oh, I cut it out and pasted it together, yeah.
And you've been operating the camera for most the whole time the show's been on the cable. You remember anything particularly that was, you know, the audience didn't notice was going wrong back then?
Well, we hope they didn't notice it. Oh, a lot of times we didn't have a monitor, you know, and just have to try to wing it.
What about the time we went with one light?
Oh, which one?
Which one?
I can think of at least. Oh, everything.
It's been an interesting experience,
from time to time. Sure. Well, this is the only kind of video stuff I've done really, except a few things on my own, and it's a unique experience. I like it informal like that. It has to be. I mean, the operation. We've grown. Look at us here.
Right.
Okay?
That's the news from all of us. Good night. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
The early shows utilized what was known as punch and crunch editing. This was all done within the single video recorder, and it consisted of simply stopping the recording whenever a scene change or change of personnel was desired. By the time of that first anniversary, the show had moved to a space at George Mason University's original building on Fairfax Drive, where it remained until the 1990s. By the end of 1982, Arlington Community Television, abbreviated to the initials ACT, officially began. The on-screen cast came and went over the years. Some of them went on to professional work, and some simply drifted away. However, one name remains from the first anniversary show: Craig Nolan, who started out behind the scenes, but who later emerged as the character Chadwick. By the mid-1980s, he was performing a segment called The Yawn Patrol. Here is that excerpt.
Howdy, here's what's happening at the clubs in and around Arlington for this 19th day of July, or sometime thereafter, 1990. At Amina's in the Crystal Underground. Maura Sullivan is there. Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 4 till 7:30. At the Birchmere, seldom seen, always as Thursdays, and coming up, and some big ones coming up at the Birchmere. Charlie Bird Trio will be down there featuring Pete Kennedy on Friday. Saturday, Loudon Wainwright III will be down at the Birchmere. And Sunday, Leon Russell. And a bell ringer for you Leon Russell fans, if you like Leon Russell. Leon will be down there Sunday in concert. Call ahead for reservations and information on that one. Wednesday, National Lyric Opera Company. And Sunday they have a jazz jam with all kinds of folks dropping in. The Frenzy, 527-8200 is their number. Finn's Bar and Grill Thursday, Lucky Strike. Friday, Roger Henderson. Saturday, Hugh Feely and Talk is Cheap at Finn's Bar and Grill, 486 Finn's. Jacques Cafe, Monday and Wednesday, John Cucuzzi at the piano. Tuesday, Kendra Holt. Friday, the Not So Modern Jazz Quartet. And Thursday and Saturday nights, the Any Old Time Dixieland Jazz Band at Jacques Cafe in their new location. Nice place. Stop down there and check it out, 528-8500. Page 2, O'Carroll's No Music in the Immediate Future, the Little Cafe. Hugh Feely and Talk is Cheap will be down there Friday night this weekend. And coming up August 24th, Linwood Taylor Band will be down at the Little Cafe, 522-6622. And that's it for me from here. For now, for this edition of the Umpqua Club Report.
Don Hammond also preserved some of the 5th anniversary show, where Craig, or Chadwick, can also be seen, along with the then current cast.
Good evening and welcome to the Arlington Weekly News. I'm Jennifer Van Horn. Gosh, that feels funny. I don't do that anymore.
No. You know, Jennifer, I was thinking the other night about how we started out a few years ago. Well, we started out in 1981, the program, but you know, you were with us back in '82, and we were on the program together. Does it feel kind of strange to be doing this again?
It does. It feels very strange, and I'm also very impressed how far Arlington Weekly News has come in the last 3 years since I've been here.
Right, from Lower Wilson Boulevard to Upper Fairfax Drive.
Not distance, but just in your sophistication. This is a very well-produced, well-run operation, and we had some days where we weren't quite sure if we were going to get the show on or not.
But we always did.
We always did.
We'd have to beg, borrow, steal cameras, but we went on the air.
We used to have to borrow mics. I mean, we're always changing.
Well, that problem is still here. This is the mic that Chadwick will be using tonight.
Sometimes if the producer didn't happen to bring a mic in his briefcase one night, we had no mics for the show.
Or talking about bringing
or
things
a camera
in.
for
How about when we used to have, I should say, potent liquid refreshments on them?
Well, that never happened.
Dave, you're not supposed to say that. This is a family.
As producer, Don Hammond experimented with the show's format. He instituted Studio B as a showcase for local musicians and singers.
Hi, folks. I'm Chadwick. He's Michael Ball. Together, we're Studio B on the Arlington Weekly News, Thursdays at 8, Tuesdays at 6:30. Be there.
I already knew that.
As the 1990s progressed, the look of the Arlington Weekly News continued to evolve, and Craig Nolan settled in as the lead
Hello,
anchor.
and welcome to the Arlington Weekly News. For this, our post-Easter and first show in April '97. I'm Craig Nolan. Thanks.
The new millennium brought a move back to the original Comcast building, but not to the old second-story room. Now there was a full-blown TV studio, and, of course, some new cast members. By then, the Arlington Weekly News was a recognized phenomenon due to its sheer longevity. Now came the serious retrospectives.
So if you multiply 50 by 30, you get maybe 1,500, give or take a few. My name is Don Hammond. I live in the far reaches of Arlington County, right on the border of Falls Church City. And I've been coming to AIM ever since it was AIM. And I've been doing public access even before AIM or ACT went into business. I'll give you the short story. Arlington Weekly News started in April of 1981. You know, in the beginning, you see, everything was pretty exciting because you got in a room with a group of strangers. We were just getting acquainted with each other, trying to practice a craft which only maybe one or two of us, and I didn't know anything at the time. Of course, just the electronics part of television, operating the machinery, turning the knobs and pushing the buttons and seeing something magical come out was intriguing. And so it was, it was a pretty exciting thing. And then after about 6 or 7 months, we settled in on a pretty solid core of people who came week after week, and they were interested in doing it, and each week it was just as exciting as the one before, so why not keep on?
However, in 2016, the show suffered an irreplaceable loss. Don Hammond passed away at the age of 86. He had been ill for a few months and had asked me to fill in temporarily as producer for his hoped-for but unrealized return. With Don's passing, the show took on its present name of Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News. For 4 years, I managed to retain much of the momentum that Don had established, including his willingness to keep trying new things. Some of the shows looked very different, but the idea of experimentation had already been established by Don.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Arlington Weekly News. I'm Craig Nolan. Thanks for joining us.
Buenas noches, Mr. Nolan. I'm Daniel Pineda.
My name's Adele Quo.
You know, before we begin, we usually say to folks out there to please silence your cell phones and pagers. We don't know why we do this, but that's what we ask you to do. For reasons yet unknown.
Cell phone alert. Cell phone alert. Cell phone alert. Cell phone alert. System timing out of control. System timing out of control. 2016, 2006, 1996, 1986, 1976, 1966, 1956, 1946, 1936.
And now the news.
After 11 attempts, an Arlington man has just won his first Erie Marathon at Presque Isle. On September 11th, 30-year-old Dustin Whitlow crossed the finish line after a 26.2-mile run with 2 hours, 33 minutes, 55 seconds. 30-year-old Whitlow was also the second Arlington man to cross the finish line in the April 2016 Boston Marathon, behind fellow Arlingtonian Michael Wardian. Say, how about that weather we've been having?
We don't do the weather on this show. And now it's time for Adele Quo with It's Easy Being Green.
Warning, some content and graphics may not be suitable for all viewers. Invasive plants are really, really bad plants that have gone terribly wild. They're alien plant species that grow very aggressively, spread, kill, and displace our native plants. They compete for the limited natural resources and push our rare native species closer to extinction. They reduce local biodiversity and provide little to no value to wildlife. And they damage our parks and disrupt.
Strangle and kill, strangle and kill.
Then, in March of 2020, the COVID pandemic forced a break in the show's format. The TV studio was no longer available, and it was all but impossible to assemble the cast and crew because all the alternate venues were shut down as well. However, the show continues without a break, with the occasional boost from archival footage and location shoots. And so, Don Hammond's Arlington Weekly News has passed its 40-year milestone with this show of April 29, 2021. There is still a chance for the next generation of talent to emerge as the pandemic gradually lifts. As we look back, we also hope to look ahead.